Rocket Ryan's Rocket Report, week number 7, and I'm all dudded up here. I have my tie on, I have my cufflinks, my Rocket watch, and this good-looking guy standing beside me is former Toledo Rocket offensive lineman Chad Diggs. He was there from 02 to 06, played on some great teams, and then towards the end, things weren't so great, but Chad, your overall experience at Toledo was what like?
Overall experience at Toledo was just great. What attracted me there initially was the College of Business and the school, and new coaching staff with Coach Amstutz and his staff. So they had came back and beat Cincinnati in Motor City Bowl, got a good win over Marshall that year. That attracted me initially, and then just decided to choose Toledo overall from there.
Okay, we talked just a little bit before we started the interview, and we talked about some of the great teams you're on, some of the great players you played with. Man, oh man, Bruce Gradkowski, Lance Moore. Those are some pretty good players right there.
Yeah, Bruce and Lance are good. Everybody talks about Bruce and Lance, but of course, as an offensive lineman, you have to mention John Greco, Nick Kaiser, you know, the offensive line that was there throughout the years. They were just powerful my entire tenure there. So, especially some of those names there, David Olenthal, Dirksen, a lot of those guys were great, legendary in my eyes, offensive linemen. Yep.
You mentioned Greco and Kaiser. Of course, they went on to the NFL. So yeah. You know, you always forget about the guys.
You forget about the linemen. You can't forget about the linemen.
You cannot do that whatsoever. Now, you beat some pretty good teams when you were there. Some Power 5 teams. And you beat Kansas. Talk about what that experience was like.
Yeah. So beat Kansas while we were there. Got a good win over Pitt while we were there. The Larry Fitzgerald team. Kansas one was just amazing. It was at Toledo. Jalen Parmley ran in one late, and what I remember about that is everybody rushed the field, and Jay was pushing people off of him, just saying, "Hey, I can't even breathe, get off of me." And then after that, he caught his breath, and we went on to celebrate. But great win versus Kansas, and I think Pitt, arguably, maybe next to the win at Penn State in 2001, I would say Pitt was probably one of the best win in Toledo history. So that was a great game. Bruce to Lance over the top late in the 4th, and they went on ahead and sealed the deal. Odom had a great game that day as well. Great special teams play. The tight ends really showed up that game. I remember that as well, all of them. So it was a great win for Toledo that night.
Okay. Coach Amstutz came in 2001.
Yes.
I mean, he was named Toledo Tom for a reason.
Yes.
He went there. He went to Whitmer.
Yes.
He was an assistant coach here for a long time, with the exception of, I think, 1 year. He went to Navy for like 1 or 2 years.
Yep.
But then he came back as a head coach. Had a great start. I mean,
Yes.
He couldn't do anything wrong. But then things started going a little south on
Yeah.
him. Exactly. What do you think was the problem there, and why did things not turn out so well and end up well for Coach Amstutz?
Gotcha. Well, first and foremost, Coach Amstutz was a great guy, great coach. My favorite thing about Coach Amstutz was his toughness. He always preached toughness, Toledo toughness, preached academics. He was disciplinarian as well, but with the big smile. So everybody loved Coach Amstutz. Just a great coach. Towards the end there, I think that there were a couple off the field issues, a couple issues on campus, and I remember Coach Stutz changed practice around at that time, and he changed the recruiting structure. So started recruiting in areas that they weren't familiar with as much, and not so much focused on actually Ohio, Michigan, and then the cities within there. Chicago kids started going out a little bit further, and I think even getting kids from a lot of the smaller schools, and it just didn't pan out. We went from continuously hearing Toledo toughness to stay out of trouble, no altercations in practice. So things had lightened up, and I think that that's what ultimately changed the tide for Coach Stutz a little bit. But yeah, not all on him. Had a great staff, but as things changed, the university came down on him, and it just kind of changed the entire structure of the Toledo tough mentality.
Okay, now this year, season coming up here in a little over 2 months from now.
Yes.
Things are looking good for the Rockets, and
Yes.
Coach Candle in there. What are your prospects for the Rockets coming up here in 2017?
Well, once again, it seems like every year Toledo is getting recognized for the best signing class every year. So hats off to him for his recruiting and his staff, and hopefully they can just keep it going. I think everybody at this point is waiting for a MAC championship. You got over the Northern Illinois hurdle last year. Now you got to be able to get over the Northern and Bowling Green, all within, and Western, all within the same year. So Coach, I think his spec had moved on from Western, and so you should. They lost a lot of guys too. So Western's going to be a tough one. They're back at Toledo this year, so I think everybody wants to see Toledo upset Miami, which I do think is very possible for Toledo to beat Miami and then go ahead and win the MAC West, and hopefully we'll get some gold rings this year in the MAC championship. So looking forward to seeing what they're going to do this year.
Chad Diggs, thanks so much for joining us here on Rocket Ryan's Rocket Report. Good to have you.
Hey, thank you. Great to be had.
And keep on watching. Go Rockets. And now that I have somebody with me, I can say TOL.
EDO.